night on Double A talking about being half pregnant too.
So, Rob, what are you going to say to Andrew when you talk to him in about 20 minutes' time?
I'm going to ask him a question. I actually want him to review this.
The 5AA Breakfast Show. Weekday mornings from 6 on 1395. Adelaide's 5AA. Interactive radio. Text 1999 1395. Peter Godfrey.
Nineteen minutes past 5. Quick call then from Glenn, just with a bit of a fuel watch for us. We're trying to find some cheap petrol this morning. The new Mobil on Henley Beach Road, they've got all the new food, the E10, the ethanol blend there, $1.39, which might be all right if your vehicle can run on that. LPG 64.9. So that's not looking too bad. The RAA suggesting that you might want to fill up sooner rather than later, because there's been a bit of an unexpected spike in prices in Melbourne and Brisbane. More than likely we're going to see it as well. So if you can get it $1.40 or less, probably be worthwhile filling up. Let's head across to New Zealand. Selwyn Manning from livenews.co.nz. How are you, Selwyn?
Yeah, very good, Peter.
What's
that price of petrol?
Yeah, what's the price of petrol there? What would you guys pay for a litre?
You've been noticing it pushing up, and these are New Zealand dollars I'm talking about, but it's kind of reaching at many of the stations at around $2.20, just under that, just dipping under that.
Okay.
But that's getting up to record prices, and this is in an environment where we're supposedly having a strong dollar that keeps such things down.
Yes,
which is working off on the ground, does it?
Which is what we're going to work on. We're going to talk about this morning. Actually, I might do the dollar conversion in a minute. Figure out what your per litre would be in our dollars. Just that $2.20. That's frightening. Once it gets over that mark. Yeah, you've spoken about the dollar and the whether it's too high, whether it's too low. Your Reserve Bank governor has. Well, he's made a speech and seems to be a bit of a win for the opposition. Is it a slap in the face for John Key as well?
Yeah, it is a bit. And, I guess the point of this one is really to build on what we were talking about on your show last week, Peter, in the sense that the New Zealand dollar is at traditional highs against the US and against the Australian. So what came out is we've seen a week, really, of political wrangling in the House. Outside, the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance saying to the public that it's satisfactory to have the Kiwi dollar so high. Actually, what it does is it puts that value in the dollar that the earners, the workers in the country make, and it keeps things like petrol, etc., at a reasonable level. Now, we know the story about petrol there. We just kind of touched on that. But what the Reserve Bank governor has done is he's come out and he's made a speech to the New Zealand Manufacturers and Exporters Association members, and he is saying basically that he will intervene when the circumstances are right. Now, if signals are anything to go by in politics and in this kind of arena, then this New Zealand Reserve Bank governor that sets all of the currency kind of areas, his message to intervene to bring the Kiwi down, should he have to, is certainly, as you said, Peter, a slap in the face for John Key and Bill English, the Finance Minister. Now, the Reserve Bank governor doesn't say he's going to right now. What he said is what the opposition bloc has been saying for a year, and he says the Reserve Bank currently has the power to intervene and justify that intervention should the following criteria be made, and then they're very simple ones: whether the exchange rate is at an exceptional level, whether it's at a level that is justified, whether intervention would be consistent with monetary policy, and whether the market conditions exist to successfully achieve the desired exchange rate adjustment. So that's the 4 points that when he's sitting there and he's rubbing his chin, he's having a think. And he's indicating here in his speech that he's prepared to, should those points be made. Now, there's a lot of speculation and now examination of those points to see whether or not he will. But his big signal was, one, to the politicians, and secondly, to those offshore investors in the Kiwi dollar, that when there's pressure pushing the value of the Kiwi up, that he is saying to them, in his words, I want the investors to know that the Kiwi is not a one-way bet, meaning that he's prepared to actually cool it down, and they could lose significant money if he has to.
Okay. Did the dollar react in any way after his comments?
Yeah, it did. It dipped within a couple of hours. It had already shed half a US cent of its value, which in terms of the timing, considering the trend it's been setting in the recent times, that was a direct response to just that very speech that he made. So the questions that are around whether or not, like coming out of the government camp, that, well, the Reserve Bank could do this and it could do that, but it would have no effect really in the long term. If there's upward pressure on the dollar, it's going to keep going up. If that's any indicator where he just mentions that he has the willpower and the toolbox to do it, should he want to, cause the downward dip, well, the answer, it looks like, yes, certainly, if he has the will, then he can pull it down. I guess the question is there the monetary policy environment that he's talking about, does that exist where he has the ability to do this? And it seems like when... Well, he cited that under the current tools that the Reserve Bank has. It did intervene in 2007 when it spiked up to record levels at that time. So he was citing precedents there, and that does look like if the traditional kind of use of manipulating mortgage interest rates to achieve exchange rate cooling down and reduce inflationary pressures, etc., is unsatisfactory to actually get the farmers, the share milkers, New Zealand commodity exporters, forestry staff and things like that, returning to the domestic economy some value. If that starts to continue at the pace that it's doing, to we not, then he looks like he's in a position where he will intervene. Okay.
And another slap in the face to John Key would arise then, I guess, too.
It certainly would.
He's going to have some rosy red cheeks, John Key, before the year is out.
Well, he is, and it's the kind of messages that John Key would not want to hear. One, because of the position that both he and his deputy as Finance Minister have taken in the last 7 days, where they've been saying, no way, this isn't going to, non-intervention is satisfactory, and what it does is make the exporters more competitive. And then you've got your Reserve Bank governor coming out and saying, actually, we will if we have to. It's not good.
No. Now, just before we get on to the other topic, you said your petrol around $2.20 a litre? That was the figure, which, using the converted, $1.79 Australian. So, your petrol's still considerably higher than ours.
What's yours, buddy?
We're looking, $1.40-ish at the moment, Australian, although suggestions that it's going to hit $1.50 very soon.
Yes. So what I was citing there by the value, Peter, was for the regular, the 91 unleaded.
Yes.
So I wasn't citing the premium either. The premium's quite a lot higher than that.
Same here, add another 10-15 cents on top of that at least.
Well, it looks like the poor old Kiwis over the side of the ditch are getting hammered in the back pocket, irrespective of the high dollar.
Looks that way. Well, maybe you need to make a few more movies like The Hobbit.
Yes, there's a segue there, isn't it, as we say in the business?
Yes. A nice little earner for Wellington.
Yeah, this result has come about right now because there was a report that was commissioned by Wellington City Council, and this is only about the big party, the premiere that happened in December.
Oh, just the premiere for it.
Just the premiere. So everyone kind of gathered, all this, many of the stars kind of came over to New Zealand. There was people from, from Australia. There was heaps of people came over that seemed to be right into Tolkien.
There's a big following.
And it's kind of spilled out 12 million New Zealand dollars for Wellington City. So the City Council did commission this report, as I was saying, and it's come through at $11,794,995 for those like Brian who would want an exact reading here. So, and that's kind of just lifted Wellington. It's saying that has not been the calculations are not based on either any of the flow-on returns to having more people in the city, spending up, doing this, and employment around the event. If we wanted to take that out further, this figure is it's a little bit dated. It's the end of around Christmas time. So the Hobbit had been going for only a matter of 10 days at the time, and it had already made just over $500 million in total earnings globally. So it's been, and that pushed old Tom Cruise out of the picture over in the US with his latest thriller, Jack Reacher, or whatever it's called.
Jack Reacher, yeah.
Reacher, well, it shows you how much interest we pay in.
With good reason too, I think, frankly, Selwyn.
Yeah. So I mean, the big deal with the Hobbit here again, relating why I'm raising these costs, is that once again, John Key, the Prime Minister, he went over to Hollywood when it looked doubtful that the Hobbit would be made here in New Zealand, and he got around the table with Warner Brothers and a few others, and basically did a sweet deal for them where there were sanctions and credits, etc., tax kind of reductions, change in legislation made for them so that the deal was sweet for them to make it here. So there's a lot of examination over whether or not the Hobbit is returning to New Zealand, a value that justified him kind of doing that sweet deal.
Okay, well, at least having a party certainly generates a bit of income, so maybe there's the idea, just have a few parties.
Yeah, a few parties and a few smiles. Yeah.
Exactly. Good on you, Selwyn. Thanks so much. Have a great week, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Cheers. Selwyn Manning. Head to livenews.co.nz for more. News with Anne Stone in a moment. Then back with more of your calls. 8223 0000.
Hi, folks. Jane Riley.